क्या हालचाल लॉन्डो, मैं हूँ स्काउट और आज हम बात करने वाले हैं गेमिंग के असली सीन के, लाइफ के स्ट्रगल्स के और मैंने कैसे एक फुटबॉल ग्राउंड से गेमिंग वर्ल्ड तक का सफर तय किया। तो भाइयों, इस पॉडकास्ट में सिर्फ गेम ही कवर नहीं होने वाला है, इसमें माइंडसेट, ग्रोथ और वो हर एक चीज़ कवर होगा जो एक गेमर को बनाता है एक लेजेंड। अगर आपको गेमिंग का जुनून है या फिर गेमिंग के शौकीन हो आप, तो ये पॉडकास्ट आपके लिए है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कैसे एक पैशन बनता है प्रोफेशन। तो भाइयों रेडी हो जाओ, क्योंकि जर्नी अभी शुरू हुई है। बिना किसी टाइम वेस्ट के हम चलते हैं पॉडकास्ट की तरफ।
So today we are joined by one of the biggest names in esports in India. We're joined by Scout. An absolute pleasure to have him with us today. Fully embodies everything that we are with Reign of Titans. An amazing journey talking about resilience, coming through in the esports scene, and now is one of the biggest creators that we see in the India esports space. The list of accolades goes on and on for Scout. So Scout is known as one of the biggest representatives of India outside of the country. And I have it on high authority, is known as the technical and mechanical god of BGMI. Scout has mentored his team Xspark to win the BGMI majors across 2024. Scout, thank you so much for joining with us today. I think it's fair to say, I mean, the list of the things that you've done is pretty long. I think you're an icon right now in esports and gaming in India. So an absolute pleasure to be on to speak with you.
Thanks so much for addressing me in such a great way. But I think gaming in India is still growing. And me achieving a lot of stuff, I don't feel like I have yet reached that point. Because when I see people outside the country who are doing great in esports and content, specifically in gaming, it's like there's a lot of things to learn and a lot of place to reach till now. Mm-hmm.
So you've been in gaming for how long now? Since you were a child?
I think professionally as a career in gaming, it's been 6 years, roughly 6 years. Mm-hmm. But I have been playing from my childhood. Like gaming has been a part of my life from my childhood. So I used to play like Contra, Mario, and till now everything.
Mm-hmm. So what drew you to gaming? Like, what are those moments that you remember as a child growing up playing?
I used to love Tekken and Street Fighter.
That takes me back.
Yeah.
Tekken,
like,
yeah.
We used to put the coins and play in the hotels. So whenever we had a family trip or school trips, we used to go in the restaurant. We used to have that big machines of Tekken or Street Fighter. We used to play there.
Yeah. Who is your favorite Tekken character?
Paul. I used to love it.
Yeah. I used to like Jack.
He's great.
With every time. Yeah.
Law was super annoying. If someone used to know how to play those combos, that's super annoying to face him.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Okay, so your main game that you play today is BGMI?
It's BGMI, yeah. Back in the day it was PUBG and then I shifted to BGMI.
Okay. So what do you love about BGMI?
It's like, actually I love a lot of shooting games, first person shooter. But BGMI is more of like, it's less skill based and more dynamic and situational based game. So not every game is same. If you play like 10 maps in a row, the maps are same, but the scenarios are different. So not everything is repetitive. You always face something new. So that gives you the adrenaline every time when you face it. Oh, it's something new. Yeah. You need to crack it up while playing the game.
Yeah. So I mean, you said you've been in the gaming space for 6 years.
Yeah.
So tell me about those years. Like, how's it changed from when you started to today?
I used to play professionally football. I had an injury, then I was on bed rest for like 5-6 months. And that time I did not have a good PC to play PUBG PC at that time. The game was pretty new at that time and it was like super viral. Shroud used to play, Doc used to play. I was like, okay, I need to find something similar to that on the mobile so I can at least enjoy the games. So on bed, you can, I didn't have console, I didn't have a PC, I just had a mobile. So I randomly searched the game and I found out, there's a PUBG version of mobile. And then from that moment, I started playing PUBG and I was into sports, like I said before. So I always wanted that competitive scenario. So when I started playing PUBG, it was like, okay, I need to compete here also. At least I need to be above average in the leaderboards. So from there, the whole story of esports started.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how would you define esports? Like, what does it mean to you?
So for audience who don't know what is esports, it's like electronic sports, basically the electronic version of sports. When we compete in any game, that's called esports. It can be anything. Any video game, you start competing, we term it as esports. Same for different sports. We casually play sports in our school times, right? We play soccer, we play football, we play cricket, we play badminton. But the second we start competing, it's professional. So that's exactly what esports is.
Okay, yeah. And the scene, you said something interesting. You said, that the scene of esports in India is just growing, right? Almost like it's just beginning, right? And you said when you compare it to others, or you compare it to let's say like the global scene, you feel like it's just starting. And can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. Like if we talk about the scenes outside the country, we see a lot of esports tournaments being held in a calendar. So it's like maybe 7 tournaments in a year. So that helps the athletes to compete more. But in India, the number of tournaments are very less. Maybe because it's new. Like the brands and everyone is like slowly coming into the scenario. And now it has started picking up. Like we used to have like 2 tournaments in a year. Now it has gone to like 5. So maybe in future we'll get a bridge where we will be competing like 7 to 8 times in a year, and maybe the best team will be sent outside the country to compete. So that gives a good amount of exposure to the players who want to achieve something in esports. So that's where I look the Indian esports to go ahead.
So tell me about your favorite moment that you've had in esports, or like maybe your favorite win, your favorite victory.
I feel every international tournament that I have played for my country, that has been my memorable moment, because we rarely used to get a chance to compete outside the country. And the second you have that flag, your national flag on your jersey, and you start representing the country, there's the whole volume changes. You have that patriotism inside you. You need to win for the country.
Yeah.
It's no more just, you're not just playing for yourself.
Yeah.
It's now more for the people who are supporting you.
Yeah. I remember somebody told me once that it's like India, the way India supports cricket, the way that people really get behind it, that kind of act of patriotism is how you kind of feel when you're playing.
Yeah, but like our country is more of an emotional driven country. So when any of the guy goes and represents the country in any sport, everyone is like, okay, we need that guy to win, no matter where he's from. But yeah, that guy is representing us.
Yeah.
And so everyone starts rooting for us.
Yeah, amazing. So for you, how do you see the space moving? How do you see it over the next few years?
I'm very positive about the esports scenario and the gaming scenario in our country, because if you look in the past 6 years, we have rapidly grown esports a lot in the country, and especially the gaming scenario. Like now, every other guy knows what is gaming. People are happy to choose gaming as a career now. Before, like when I started, we had that mentality. Like our parents had that mentality. Okay, gaming is just for fun. You can make a career in that. But in the past 6 years, the entire way of looking at gaming has completely been changed. So I feel like how the people outside the country look into gaming, like, oh, if your child is gaming, it's fine. He can still make a career in that. Maybe in the coming few years, our parents in our country, they'll start supporting their children to play games more.
Was that your experience with your parents?
It was pretty tough because I was pretty good in my education, but I went to football. Then my parents were like, oh, he's going into sports. Then I shifted to gaming. I'm like, okay, now from studies he went to sports, now into gaming. Next what? Where do you want to go next? I don't know. This is my final chapter. I want to put everything in this. So yeah, it was pretty tough in my time, but yeah, with like maybe in 2 years, they were like super confident. He can make a career in this. He can have a stable life ahead.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, congratulations for everything.
Thank you so much. I was blessed that I got right people around me at the right time, and I was pretty lucky to start gaming early.
It's interesting that the way you kind of talk about the support that people have had, especially as children going into esports. It can really be seen almost as a vehicle to like help, like give that support to kids, like to put them on a path that's, not a bad path, right?
Yeah.
There's so many other things that kids these days could be doing, right? Rather than gaming. So it's good to see a story that has led to a really positive outcome.
Exactly. Like I think abroad in a lot of different countries, there is a subject called esports where in schools, they teach what esports is, what gaming is. Yeah. And recently in our country also, in different places, in schools, there has been small references of esports where students have been taught like, okay, there's a thing called esports where people do game and compete. So like our parents used to encourage us to play sports, to be physically fit.
Yeah.
Maybe future generation, they're going to encourage their children to play sports and esports at the same time.
Yeah. It's very reminiscent to me of when, I think about my parents, for example, and I think about, they would say go into a traditional career, right? Go into something legal or go into science,
And become a doctor or
right,
something like
exactly.
that, yeah.
And it's nice to see that the world has changed and this generation has kind of pushed those boundaries and given the results to back it up, right? Yeah.
So can you tell me like a little bit more about what is Reign of Titans?
Yeah, so at its core, it's a card strategy game. It's been a journey. It's been 3 years in the making that we've been building this game, and it's somewhat similar to say Pokemon is a good reference point for people, or Hearthstone is a good reference point. We've created a whole world, a whole lore around this game called Irio, and we have these Titan characters that are fighting for supremacy within this world. That's the backstory. And it's a card game, so you're building your deck, you're building your strategy, and you as a player, you pick one of your Titans. You can be one of 8 different elements, like you could be a Lava Titan, Spike, Sea, all with very different play styles, and then you build your deck to try to defeat your opponent.
So it's basically like very good reference must be like Pokemon, like people will easily connect it.
Yeah.
Like the way we have different elements like fire, water, wind, rocks. So it's more of a elemental combinations while going PvPs.
Yes, yeah. The PvP part is very important for us because it starts to move us obviously towards esports, right? And that's what we're interested in.
Get spicy,
yeah, exactly. But yes, we just came out on mobile recently, so it's web-based and mobile as well.
Oh, so we have cross platforms?
Yes, cross platforms. Yes, hopefully we'll have a few more platforms that we're going to be building into it as well soon. Yes, yeah.
I'm pretty excited to try this game, to be honest. Like, I actually love a lot of games in which there are more of elemental combinations because it helps you to go creative.
Yeah.
Like you can have your own combinations and try different set of combinations to defeat your enemies.
Yeah. It's interesting. As we built the game, for us, we wanted to, exactly as you say, make sure that we had these combinations that people could start to get familiar with or start to really play out. But also we wanted to focus a lot on the actual mechanics, like the technical mechanics of the game, right? So like playing on your phone and actually dragging things up on the screen, right? So working with your hands as well.
I'm actually excited to try this game, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean we're excited to be here in India, with this game.
The mobile gaming community in India is like super crazy and super big also at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think this will be one of those games, in which you don't need to be in a posture to play. You can relax, chill out. You're traveling, you can chill out and play, I guess.
Yeah. It's an interesting story with us and Reign of Titans and us coming to India because 2 years ago, we sat down and we thought to ourselves, where do we really believe that we can make the biggest impact with this game? Like, where do we want to make a big bet? Every game, every company goes through this question, right? Where's your big bet? And we had traveled to a couple of places, and we decided on India because of this very thing that you said. Actually, it's a few things that you said. One, because the gaming scene is so big here. Yeah. The mobile scene is great. The competitive scene, esports rising. But what was amazing to us when we came is, it's such a cliche word, but the amount of passion that we found within the gaming space, right? It's the way you talk about nationalism, the way you talk about people really wanting to play, the competitive element was the thing that tipped it over for us as to why it's so important that we put our time here in India.
It's like there are many countries which have really big mobile gaming communities, but I feel something unique about India is like the passion, what you just mentioned here, it's like insane. Like when people go into the stuff, they're like, oh, we need to do it. Yeah. They go all in.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what we hope to build with the game. We hope that we can build up this competitive side of it.
Yeah, because in India, there are very few games which have big esports. So obviously there's like when people want to go and excel in some kind of game, in different countries, they have different options where they want to try. But in India, the options are very few. But this game coming up at the right moment, it's like, players will be given another option. We can try that. We can go competitive in that. We can be number one in that game.
What do you think that people in India are looking for in games?
I feel a good ecosystem of esports, because whenever a game launches in any, like if just not in India, but for a gaming community, the people who love to play games, they need a roadmap. Okay, the game gets launched. What's going to happen after the game gets launched? Okay, they'll put some skins, maybe some good events in the game, but what about next? So that's the place where esports comes in. Oh, we're going to have a tournament where all the people are going to compete. Or like, okay, we get to showcase our skills. Then what about what's going to happen after the tournament? Okay, next tournament is going to come after like 4 months. So that the roadmap for an annual year, that's going to help people keep grinding. So it's like, okay, if we're not able to make it in the first tournament, we will be able to make it in the second one, maybe in the third one. So the roadmap is very important, which people are craving in India. Because I don't see a lot of games doing that thing.
Well, with your statement around needing a roadmap, is it sometimes hard to see games that are really here for the long term and kind of investing themselves?
Exactly. That's a very good question, because people, when they start gaming, they are pretty happy when they like the game. But when the developers are not, or the publishers are not investing a lot of time into that space, then the gamers or the users, they start fading away. They're like, okay, we want a tournament, but the tournament is not coming. We want some good events, but the developers are not listening.
Yeah.
So then the interest starts fading away.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel when any game which comes to the market, I feel a year is something which should be a full year of active events, tournaments, everything, to keep the user base happy and interested in the upcoming events.
Yeah. I mean, we've been to India now maybe 6 or 7 times in the last 8 months. We're here all the time.
What's your favorite food here?
Okay, now you've asked the right question. Okay, so dosa, firm favorite.
And that's like a go-to-go dish in the morning. Like, you have nothing, you can have a dosa.
Yeah.
There's like n number of dosas here.
That's like standard for me. Idli.
That's a good combination, dosa and idli.
Idli, because it reminds me of something. It reminds me of a food that I had when I was a child, which is actually Nigerian, but it's got a very similar taste. So idli is also a firm favorite. Biryani, because it's just so good.
So do you get the same Indian taste food in your place where you live?
No.
So the spices are different, right?
It's different. So I thought that the Indian food that I got outside India was good until I came to India.
Oh, yeah. That's what I like. Whenever my friends tell, oh, I have great Indian food, you're like, bro, you need to come here.
Yeah. I didn't get it.
Taste, and they're gonna love it. You'll say, no, bro, that's different.
It's different. And I'm from London originally, and they have very good Indian food, but it's not like this.
I have been to London a couple of times, so first of all, like, there are very less Indian big good restaurants.
Yeah.
And there's a huge queue there. Every time you go, it's packed.
Yep.
And then you have to wait for like 30-40 minutes, and then you get the food. Then you compare it with the Indian food. Oh, shit, bro. Like, that you can get it here.
None of it's good, really. It's not good. It's not good. But the food is amazing. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I keep coming back, right?
Like, I used to think like the food outside is crazy. But the second I've gone outside, then I start craving for the Indian. Oh, bro, I need my Indian food here.
Yep. So I mean, we've been back so many times, and we have an amazing feeling every time that we come, because of the scene, because of the food, because of the
food
vibe.
Is mandatory.
But because of the vibe that we have with everyone that we meet here. But it's as you say, it's really important that you're actually here. And as a publisher, you need to be on the ground. You need to be at these events, show yourselves, and show what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's like very few publishers do that. I feel only few games are there in India where publishers themselves come and ask to players and users what they love. According to that, they can put something in the game.
Yeah, that's really it's really important. We did some events and we were in Mumbai, and I remember people coming up to me and saying they couldn't believe that we were here. The people that created the game were actually here with them, and it was so strange to me because I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. It would be strange to not be here, because the community is such a core part of what we do with Reign of Titans. And this idea of getting them involved and dictating the journey of the game has been a theme with us for the last, since we started building. We've built a community around it. They give us advice, they give us feedback. We talk to them, every week, our community, to get advice on what we should do, because ultimately we have to build the game for them.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
can't build it for us. So that's a very good point.
Yeah, and as I told you before, like the gaming scene in India is at a very beginner level. So when I recently went to Tokyo for one of the gaming expos, there I saw like different games which were yet to come. They gave them early access to the gamers, and the people who never knew about the games, they went and they started trying and they started waiting for the game. That's how things are done outside the country. And in India, I don't feel it has yet been started. And if we get this thing into different gaming shows and expos here, I'm damn sure we would love to try something new. And that's going to bring like the hype about the game a lot. Because-
Yeah, it's an interesting angle, like early access and providing people.
Yeah,
that
so
will-
like imagine there's what all gaming events we have. Like we have a DreamHack, we have some XYZ events. Maybe having a Rain Fridays booth there, letting gamers come and try the game there. And that's where people will start engaging with the game directly before the game being launched. And then people are like, oh shit, this game is cool. Okay, when it's going to launch? Then the word of mouth, the way the marketing works from the word of mouth is, I don't think any billboard is going to beat that.
yeah.
The marketing through word of mouth is, I think, the best way to publish a game.
Yeah. Where do you think publishers have failed? Like in your experience that you've seen?
I think publishers spend a lot on advertising the game. But what I feel the best of advertising is getting the streamers of that region to play that game, so that the audience of that region start engaging. So if we divide the country into 4 parts, maybe get a couple of streamers from northern side of the country, some from the eastern, western, and southern side, and like they start playing the game, and their audience is going to ask, okay, this is a cool game. What is the name of the game? Then the streamer is going to explain them, and that's how the community starts building.
Yeah.
But what I've seen publishers doing is like they come, they start throwing money on doing advertisement and everything, but then they don't get the results. That's because we don't go to the core. I feel streamers are someone who keep engaging with the audience on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And promoting through them is something what I feel is the easiest way of marketing.
Yeah.
Rather than making the game go on a billboard or maybe on YouTube ads or Instagram ads. That's where we feel like, oh, if it's on YouTube, we're going to skip it.
Yeah.
But when I'm going to watch someone and he's going to explain me, even if I don't like them, I'm still going to watch it.
Yeah.
I'll have an idea what's there. Maybe after a couple of days, one of my friends is going to say, oh, bro, try this game. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Then I'll tell you, yeah, I have seen that streamer playing. Let me give it a try.
Right.
And that's how the community starts growing,
Yeah.
what I feel.
Have you always been a streamer?
Oh, yeah. From the start, I've been a streamer.
Yeah.
So, like, to be honest, I can call myself a bit of a veteran in this industry.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of, like, if we say one of the biggest titles in the country, that's BGMI, which used to be PUBG. So, I've been a part of this industry from the start, when PUBG got launched in India on its beta version. So, on the beta version, I've seen that game grow. So, I've seen how people start connecting, the way people start talking about the game. The more people are going to talk about the game, I think that's the best way the game starts getting marked in a good way. It gets published.
So have you always liked streaming, or was it tough to get into it in the beginning?
To be honest, it's like, as I told you, I came from a sports background. So I never had a filter on myself. So I was like one of those guys who was rough and tough and used to play on the ground. For me, my life was sweat, blood, and ground, and my football. That's it.
Yeah.
And suddenly I'm thrown in front of a couch, there's a camera, and I don't know what to speak. So I had no filters back in the days, but slowly I understood, oh, when I'm on a camera, I have to behave in a certain way, I have to talk in a certain way.
Yeah.
Then I started enjoying it. Then I was like, okay, I do the same thing, just in front of the camera, what I do off the cam. Yeah. I play for like 8-9 hours a day. I just need to do the same thing in front of the camera. The way I joke with my friends, I need to do the jokes and show some really good gameplay for my people who are going to watch me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do enjoy streaming a lot.
Yeah. I can relate to that. You know, I've had to have multiple media training sessions to be more refined on camera. So I can relate to that. Yeah, when we talk about the game, we talk very much about kind of 4 things that really encompass the game. And we talk about having creative gameplay, so making sure it looks a certain way. It's quite a different aesthetic when you see the game. I don't know if you would have seen something like that. It's almost like
maybe we can give it a like a reference of like Brawl Star. No.
Yeah.
It's an isometric view from this top.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can see the characters.
You can see the characters side by side.
And on that, we can have a combination of elemental combinations plus card game.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like Pokemon. So
right, and
you
you
use
see
your
the
cards,
cards at the bottom, you see the animations play out. So
you put a card, you have that character there doing the attacks and everything.
Yeah. So that's like that part of it, that creative element we want to keep expanding on. The community part of it we talked about. So we're very, very focused with our community. As I said, we talk to them every week. We have like an AMA with our community for like an hour and a half, and we just talk to them very transparently. Basically, we just say what we've done for the week, what we've worked on, what's coming up over the next week. We'll talk to our community like that, get feedback from them.
Yeah, like I think developers listening to the user base of what they like about the game, what they don't like about the game, that's where the game grows, what I feel. Imagine something which is overpowered, maybe some cards which must be creating imbalance in the game, like super powerful.
Yeah.
The developer listening to that and putting a nerf on that, buffing up some cards.
Yeah.
That's what helps the community grow, because then the community feels like, oh, our feedback is being listened by the developers and we are getting a good results by talking about the game with the developers. That's something I feel very less games do that.
Yeah. Honestly, we wouldn't be where we're at today without our community and without our feedback. I mean, talking about balance of the game, so we must have done like 30 balance updates like before we released. So we did kind of a pre-release with our community, so they were playing the game a little bit. And they were the ones who were giving us feedback on the elements, who would do small tournaments with the community, and they would give their advice. So we've maybe done like 30 balance changes. If we were on our own without a community, we would have maybe done 5.
Yeah. Then, like, developers know the mechanism, so they won't get that taste of having the competitive vibe. The second a user comes in who has no clue about the game, then he comes to know, oh, this card is good, this card's bad, or this card is great. Oh, okay, that card is super overpowered, that needs to be nerfed, or something like that. So I feel users are someone who are gonna give that actual feedback. How it feels to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a full ecosystem. Like everybody has to play their part, right? And from our side, when players are playing tournaments, there's obviously an inherent bias, right? Because they want to win, right? And then there's obviously an inherent bias from our side because we're not playing it every day the same way they're playing it in that competitive environment, as you say. So it has to all come together. Everybody has to come together, which has been really nice to see. And I hope that we can foster that same coming together in India somehow, between everyone.
Yeah, I would love to have when a streamer showdown where we have the streamers competing against other streamers.
Yeah.
That would be a great idea of people even if people don't know about the game, but when they see their favorite streamers competing in something, eventually they're gonna come to know about the game. Like, oh, what game are they competing in?
Yeah.
And like a fun tournament between all the streamers, then having a tournament for all the users where the actual pros come into play.
Yeah. I mean, right now we do community tournaments. So we run like 3 or 4 tournaments a month.
That's
we have
crazy number.
Pretty big prize pools attached to those tournaments, and they're global. So we have users all over the world right now.
And the second we have international tournament, like maybe top 2 teams from the country goes. That's where things gonna get fired up. Like, oh, we got a game where we can compete for the country.
Yeah. I mean, you're speaking to our roadmap right now, right? This is our goal as we go into esports. And these ideas of working with streamers and having streamers playing against streamers, I mean, that's definitely our plan, right? We want to do that first here, actually, in India.
I'm super excited for this because that's something I actually expect from a game whenever it gets published. Like, whenever the game gets published, there's always a hype when a new game comes in. But what I personally feel where the things get starts going down is where there is a lack of engagement with the audience. Specifically, the streamer showdown is something which is very important. Like when we see any other game launched outside the country, there are streamers who come and play the game. That's how their audience is gonna come to know.
Yeah.
So that the small bridge of getting the streamers play the game and compete is something where publishers miss out a lot.